Good morning students. Myself Ranjit Kumar, Biology lecturer, Soundarya PU College. Today I will be starting with a new topic, that is reproduction in organisms. Reproduction, as the name says, re means again, production means to produce. What do you mean by reproduction? To produce a new organism of its own kind. Let us take one example. Here in this image you can see the tiger is feeding milk to their young ones. The tiger always give birth to the same species. In this image, when you have a look, there is a wide variety of life forms. All these organisms have existed on this earth since years together. All the organisms have got a definite lifespan. What do you mean by lifespan? The period from birth to natural death of an organism is called lifespan. I repeat, the period from birth to natural death of an organism is called lifespan. Every organism has got their lifespan. After few days, the organism will end with death. So, if the organisms are going to die, how come these same organisms are existing on this earth? Now, the reproduction comes to a picture. That means every organisms take birth, they grow, mature. Before they die, they reproduce. Why they are going to reproduce? Because these organisms want to continue their progeny from one generation to next generation, so that they can sustain on this earth. That is how the reproduction is very much necessary. Now let us study the meaning of reproduction. What is reproduction? The reproduction is a process by which the living organism produces a new organism which are similar to themselves. Here you can see the different examples. The elephant has given birth to the young ones, giraffe has given birth to the young ones, penguin which has given birth to young ones, man also given birth to young ones. When you look into the young ones are very similar to their parent body. Now the question is, why the reproduction is very much necessary? It retains the particular species of living organism. That means in order to continue the progeny or in order to sustain on this earth, the organisms are undergoing reproduction. It enables the continuity of species from one generation to next generation, and there is a transmission of characters from one generation to another generation. If we take the example of our parents, there are certain characters that are inherited from our parents, that is followed by us. This is how it will be carried to our next upcoming generation. The third point, that is variation leads to origin of species. Not only we can see only similar characteristics, there may be certain variations also. For example, if father has got brown eyes, mother has got black eyes, and the newborn baby will have blue eyes. This is how the variation is seen in this case. If we take one more example, different species of dog. We have come across the different variety of dogs in our daily life. Some dogs are very tall, some dogs are very short, some dogs the body is fully covered with fur, some dogs do not have any fur, some dogs it is got patches over the body, some dogs do not have any patches. This is how the variation is seen in the species of dog. Now let us once again see the meaning of lifespan. The period from birth to natural death of an organism is called its lifespan. No individual is immortal. What do you mean by immortal? That means the organism has the capacity to survive forever. But there is one organism, that is unicellular organism, will be immortal. Why? Because they do not die as they grow old. Why? Because these organisms will undergo mitosis, that is asexual reproduction. The organism itself will be divided into two daughter cells. That is how these unicellular organisms are immortal. Now let us have a look of different organisms and their lifespan. Lifespan of some organisms. The lifespan of elephant is 60 to 70 years. The lifespan of rose plant is 5 to 7 years. The lifespan of butterfly, that is 1 to 2 weeks. The lifespan of dog, that is 15 to 20 years. Crow, the lifespan is 15 years. Banana tree, the lifespan is 25 years. Cow, the lifespan is 20 to 25 years. Parrot, it has got 140 years. Crocodile, the lifespan is 60 years. Horse, the lifespan is 60 years. Fruit fly, it is also called as Drosophila melanogaster. The lifespan is only 30 days. The lifespan of rice plant, that is 3 to 4 months. Tortoise, the lifespan is 100 to 150 years. Banyan tree, it has got the lifespan 200 years. So these are the common examples. We can see how the lifespan of different organisms. Next, moving on to the next concept, that is types of reproduction. In reproduction we have got two types. First one is asexual reproduction and second one is sexual reproduction. What is this asexual reproduction? It is the reproduction by single parent without the formation of gametes. I repeat, it is the reproduction by single parent without the formation of gametes. In asexual reproduction, it requires only single parent and there is no any sex involved. That means there are no any gametes. To form a new individual, the single parent is required, and this new individual which is produced are similar to their parents, and are we also called as identical to their parents. Okay, and in asexual reproduction there is no any sexual differentiation. One organism has the capacity of producing hundreds of new individuals within a short period of time. Next, sexual reproduction. This sexual reproduction is nothing but it is the reproduction in which the two parents of opposite sex involves with fusion and formation of gametes. I repeat, the sexual reproduction, it is the reproduction in which the two parents of opposite sex involves with fusion and formation of gametes. Two gametes, that is male gamete as well as female gamete. In sexual reproduction we require two gametes, that means sexes are involved. And the sexual differentiation is also seen. We can easily identify the male gamete and female gamete. The new individuals which are formed are not very much similar to their parents according to genetically as well as morphologically. And sometimes the new individuals can share the common traits from their parents, and sometimes there may be variations is also seen in some cases. This sexual reproduction is mostly seen in higher animals. The best example is human beings, and it is also seen in higher plants like flowering plants, that is angiosperms. What about this asexual reproduction? It is seen in some unicellular organisms like amoeba, euglena, bacteria, paramecium, and also some lower animals like tapeworm, hydra, planaria. Now let us study in detail about this asexual reproduction. It is a mode of reproduction in which the new individuals are formed by a single parent. Here the new organisms which are produced, and they are often called as daughter cells, and it is mostly seen in unicellular organisms. I have already told the new individuals are very much identical or similar to their parents, and they are commonly called as clones. This is very important. The new individuals which are produced by a single parent are identical to their parents, and they are called as clones. The best example is bacteria, amoeba, euglena. It is also seen in some lower animals like hydra, planaria, tapeworm. Now moving on to the next topic. In asexual reproduction there are some different types, that is fission. Fission is nothing but to split. An organism splits into two or more new individual. Budding is nothing but a new organism is formed as an outgrowth from the parent body. Fragmentation, that means the parent splits into pieces or fragments to form a new individual. Spore formation, that means the formation of new individual by the germination of spores. The last one is the vegetative propagation. It is one type of asexual reproduction where the new individuals are formed in vegetative propagules, and these vegetative propagules are the units of vegetative propagation. Yes, now we will study in detail with the different types of asexual reproduction. First one is fission. Fission is nothing but to split. An organism splits into one or more new individual. The best example is protist and moneyrons. In this fission, there are two types, binary fission and multiple fission. In binary fission, an organism splits, that is the parent body divides into two individuals. Here, the nucleus divides at only once. The best example is amoeba and paramecium. Let us have a look with this picture, that is binary fission in amoeba. This is the parent body of amoeba. During binary fission, it splits into two new individuals where the nucleus divides at only once and it forms two daughter cells. And this binary fission takes place during favorable condition. And the splitting of two new individual is very much is in a single plane. Okay. Whereas if we take one more example, that is leishmania, it is one of the protozoan which causes a disease called Kala-Azar, where you can see the body will be split in any plane. Okay. The best example is amoeba as well as paramecium. Next, moving on to the next type, that is multiple fission. As the name itself, you can easily tell the meaning of multiple fission. It is the division of parent cell into many new individuals. Here the nucleus divides repeatedly. The nucleus will be dividing many more times. You can have a look with this paramecium. The nucleus will be dividing at more times, and it takes place during unfavorable condition. During unfavorable condition, there will be a formation of cyst. What is this cyst? This cyst acts like a protective covering for the new individual in order to protect the new individual from unfavorable condition. When this organism it comes back to the favorable condition, then the cyst will again break down. It is seen mostly in Plasmodium as well as amoeba. Next, moving on to the next type, that is budding. Budding is nothing but the new individual is formed as an outgrowth of the parent body. Here you can have a look with Hydra. This is the parent body where you can see the outgrowth. This outgrowth will lead to the formation of a new organism. Here the daughter separates away. That means the daughter cell which is attached to the parent body, once it becomes mature, it gets detached from the parent body and it forms a new individual. The bud is formed as a result of repeated cell division which takes place at their main site. The buds or the small individual grow, mature, and once they become mature, they get detached from the parent body and it forms a new individual. Here we can take one more example, that is yeast. This is the parent body. Here you can see the small outgrowth that is coming from the parent body. Once it becomes mature, it gets detached from the parent body and it forms a new individual. And this budding is also seen in sponges. Sponges comes under porifera, where internal budding is seen, a small structure which grows inside the body, that is called as gemmules. Next, moving on to the next type, that is fragmentation. Fragmentation means the parents divide into multiple pieces on maturity, each one of which forms into a new individual. Once the pieces becomes mature, it forms into a new individual. It is seen in simple multicellular organism, that is green algae. The best example is Spirogyra. Here you can see in the picture, this is the Spirogyra. It is splits into different fragments. Each fragment it grows. Once it becomes mature, it will forms into a new individual. Here you can have a look. In each fragment, once it becomes mature, it forms into a new individual. The next type is spore formation. Spore formation means the formation of new individuals by germination of spores. What is this spores? The spores are the unicellular plant body that are capable of producing new individual. That means it has got a thick structure which is present on the top of which that tiny structure we called as sporangia. Inside the sporangia the spores are present. The repeated division of nuclei leads to formation of multiple spores inside the sporangia, and these spores, the spores which are covered with a thick wall. Why they are covered with thick wall? In order to protect the spores from unfavorable conditions. Whenever these spores come in contact with moist surface, what happens? The spores come out or the spores will be released. The examples are algae, bacteria and fungi. And these spores are easily carried out by wind, water or even by small animals. Why? Because they are very much tiny, so they can be easily carried away. There are some of the spores which are seen in different organisms like Conidia, that is Penicillium. It is a non-motile spore of fungus. They are often termed as mytospores. I repeat, Conidia, that is Penicillium, it is a non-motile spores, that is Penicillium. They are often termed as mytospores. The second spore is zoospores. They are the motile spores where they can move because of having flagella, which is helpful for locomotion, and they are used as a mode of asexual reproduction by some of the algae, bacteria and fungi. Here we have got certain examples. This is the zoospores of Chlamydomonas, Conidia of Penicillium, buds of Hydra and gemmules of sponges. These are some of the other examples for spore formation. The last type is vegetative propagation. As the name says, vegetative, it is mainly related to plants. Propagation means to develop, to produce more and more plants. Vegetative propagation, it is a mode of asexual reproduction. That means it is the production of offsprings from vegetative propagules in plants. I repeat, it is the production of offsprings from vegetative propagules in plants. The vegetative propagules are the units of vegetative propagation. Let us see some of the examples of vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is nothing but they are the outgrowth which leads to the formation of new organism. Some of the examples are runner. Runner, it is seen in strawberry. Rhizome, it is seen in ginger or canna lily. Sucker, it is mostly seen in apple and cherry. Tuber, it is seen in potato, the eyes of potato, or we also call as germinating eye buds. Offset, the best example is water hyacinth, or we also call as Iconia. Bulb is the vegetative propagule of onion or garlic. Bulbil of agave, it is also one type of vegetative propagule. Now let us study one by one. First, let us see the runner. It is also called as stolon. It is a slender stem that grows horizontally above the ground. Naturally, it cut off and separated develops into a new individual. That means there is a node where the stem develops. At each node, the new plant is able to arise. The best example is strawberry. The second one is rhizome. It is a modified underground stem that is called as rhizome. The rhizome is separated into multiple pieces. Each pieces are capable to produce a new individual. Once it becomes mature, it leads to formation of a new individual plant. It is mostly seen in ginger and canna lily. The next type, that is sucker. It is a basal shoot of root sprout forming the adventitious shoot. It grows from the bud from the base of a tree, or it grows from the bud from any shrub or any basal part of a plant. The best example is cherry or apple. The next one, that is tuber. It is mostly seen in potato. I think you all seen the eye buds or the germinating buds of potato. The tubers are the modified plant structures which are enlarged to store the nutrients. These are short, thickened underground stem. It bears a minute scale leaves with a bud that has got the ability to develop into a new plant. Okay, the best example is potato. The next one, that is offset. The offset is a small virtual plant body, that is the complex daughter cell. It is undergoing asexual reproduction which is produced from the mother plant. Okay, the best example is water hyacinth, or we also called as Iconia. The offset is a small virtual plant body that reproduces asexually from the plant, that is parent plant. The best example is Eichhornia or water hyacinth. This water hyacinth is also called as a terror of Bengal. It was first found in India because of its beautiful flower and the arrangement of leaves and the location of leaves. It is also called as terror of Bengal. Through vegetative propagation, the offset can be produced very rapidly. That means during a short period of time we can produce more number of offset. During that time, this offset draining so much of water from it drains more number of oxygen from water. That results with what? That results with death of fishes. So it is also called as water weed. The next one is bulb of onion or garlic. The bulb is a short stem which bears the fleshy leaves or leaf bases. It is mostly seen in onion and garlic. And the last one is bulbil of agave. It is a small young plant that is reproduced vegetatively from the auxiliary bud. Here it arises into a new plant. Okay, that is the bulbil of agave. Next, the farmers and gardeners started exploiting these vegetative propagules for commercial purposes. So they have followed some of the techniques like cutting, layering. In layering we have got two types, mound layering and air layering, and the last one is grafting. Let us see the explanation of these techniques. They are also called as artificial vegetative propagation in order to increase the commercial value. So the gardeners and farmers started exploiting these vegetative propagules. The first one is cutting. Cutting any part of the plant, and when it is put into the soil, it grows into a new individual. The best example in root cutting we can take dahlia. The best example for stem cutting we can take rose or sugarcane. Layering. Layering means the new plant which is produced from the stem without detaching from the parent plant body. In the layering we have got two types, mound layering and air layering. What is this mound layering? Here we have got one plant, that means we will pull the branch of this plant towards the soil. That means it should be fully covered with the moist soil and it should be left for few days. After few days you can see there will be a growth of a small roots. Later we can detach this branch from the parent plant and we can put it in the soil. This branch, it will grow into a new plant, that is called as mound layering. And one more type we have got in layering, that is air layering. The air layering is nothing but in the aerial branch we have to scalp the few part of branches, and it should be filled with moist soil and it should be later covered with a plastic and it should be kept observed for few days. After few days you can see there will be a growth of small roots, and when we get detach this aerial branch from the main plant and it is put it into the soil, this aerial branch gives into the formation of, or it leads to the formation of a new plant. That is about air layering. And the one more technique what the farmers or gardeners use, that is grafting. Grafting means the stem of two individual plants are taken and they are cut and they are joined with each other. The first part, what we call that as scion, and this is the upper part, that is called as scion. The lower part, that is called as stalk. The stem of two individuals are taken and they are cut into a slant position, okay, and they are joined to each other. There should be no any gap in between them, and they are tied with a plastic cover or any thread. The upper part is called as scion and the lower part is called stalk. For this we can take the best example is rose plant. In rose we come across the different varieties of colors. For example, if we take red color stem and that is red color flower and yellow color flower, it is cut slantly and it will be joined with the help of a plastic cover, and this leads to the formation of new individual. That is how the grafting technique is used. Once again I will repeat, the cutting is one of the artificial technique which is used by farmers as well as gardeners. A plant is cut from the parent and put it into the soil, which later give rise to form a new plant. We can take any cut part of any plant that when we put into the soil, it give rise to the formation of new plant. Stem cutting, that is example rose, sugarcane, and root cutting, that is dahlia. Layering, the new plants are formed from the stem of the parent plant without detaching from the parent plant. In layering, the variety of plants can be grown by using this technique, like strawberry, guava, lemon, China rose, etc. In layering, we have got two types, mound layering as well as air layering. Mound layering, we pull the branch towards the ground and a part of it is covered with the moist soil. After few days, it is seen that the new roots tend to develop from this part. Later we can detach it from the branch, and this detached branch will grow into a new individual. The next type, that is air layering. In air layering, the aerial branch is scraped and it is covered with moist soil, and it is later covered with plastic. After few days, when you observe, there will be a growth of small roots, and after some time we will get detached that aerial branch from the main plant, and it is put it into the soil, it leads to the formation of new plant. The last technique, that is grafting. The stem is cut from two different plants and attached to grow as a single plant. You can take stem of any different species and it can be attached to form a new individual, where the variations or variety of characters can be seen by this technique. Sometimes we need to combine the traits of two different plants, where when we combine the characters of two different plants, the variation is very much different from the two different plants. The upper part, what we called, that is coyon, the lower part, that is stalk, should exactly fit with each other, and there should be no any air gap or gap between each other. So slank cut is very much preferably used in this grafting technique.